Hey, deserving listeners, Love is Blind. Let's check it out.
Because, like, I've seen it work.
I just don't like the way that you sound today. I don't think you really want to do it with me. Just be honest with me.
Okay, so the charitable explanation is he says that because it's true and he feels rejected and he's bidding for connection, which would be healthy or normal or not pathology. Or it's in line with the other conceptualization that this is a calculation and a manipulation on his part, that he is putting the ball in her court and forcing her to make a choice. It's either on or it's off. That's what love bombers will do. That's what high control people will do. It's like you're either all in or you're all out. And if you're not all in, then I'm gone. And abusers will do that. You know, we know that, and I don't know if he's an abuser, but just to talk about this, we all know about abusive people that will hit their partner, but there's a lot of other methods of control. In fact, the vast majority of time, even among abusive, violent people, the abuse is not violent. Another major tactic is to abuse through threats of abandonment, particularly for people that have vulnerability and traumas about abandonment themselves from the past. But even without those traumas, no one likes to be abandoned, particularly after the high control person has eliminated all your support system, but even without that. So in this perspective, he is saying that because he knows there's some tension, there's some distance from her. And he knows that if he words it a certain way and says, look, essentially you either say you're all in right now, or you know that there's a good chance that I'm leaving, and I know you don't want that. So what are we going to do here? Because a more human response, regardless of what's going on here, would be for him to say, look, I understand where you're coming from because of that, and I screwed up, and but I do want to be with you. And because, you know, we've seen that conversation on the show before where, like, the Amber person reveals to the Matthew person, I'm going to be with someone else. And then suddenly the Matthew person is like, oh my God, and then they go to the AD person and they say, you were the one all along and we kind of know better. So you just think there would be some effort there other than like essential. And, you know, earlier he was like, I'm not going to give an ultimatum. And I'm thinking, ultimatum? What sort of ultimatum? Did she do something wrong? I don't understand. What ultimatum are we talking about? And presumably this is when he still was pursuing both women. So it's just a lot of things. There's so many data points. It's very legit. I mean, who knows, but if this is as bad as it looks from that angle, it's actually quite disturbing. This is not a laughing matter because this kind of personality type, it doesn't go away. And if it's not AD, it'll be somebody else.
Do you feel like you've had another connection with somebody?
Yes.
I think you're an amazing person, but it's not fair to you that I can't commit to the plan that you want, so I'm done.
It's not fair to you. Wait, what did he say?
I think you're an amazing person, but it's not fair to you that I can't commit to the plan that you want.
The plan that she wants? What plan? What plan? Did they talk about a plan? He didn't even know about the other guy until this very moment. What plan? Maybe he's saying, you want me to stick around. That's your plan. And you want me to wait until you make a choice between me and the other guy. I can't do that. Okay? On the charitable side, I guess I understand, but it's kind of weird. You're on Love is Blind, and this is a pretty good likelihood. I would say this happens at least, I would say 40% of the time, that when one person commits to another person or when two people are like getting serious, I would say about at least 40% of the time, one of them has another serious option, maybe even more often. So, or at the very least, even if he doesn't know that, it would be rational to conclude that, right? But anyway, so on the charitable side, he's just hurt and confused, and he's worried, and so he just wants to avoid and get out of it. Okay? That might be revealing that he's not as into AD as he would need to be for it to be a secure relationship or something that AD can depend on. So this would be good for AD to know, oh, wow, so you're just out? I thought you were totally in love with me. If you were, why are you just bouncing, right? Okay. So, but anyway, so that's the charitable way, non-pathology. On the pathology side, on the either lack of empathy side or the abusive side, it's what I was saying earlier, which is a forced tactic of, I can't control you yet, but what I want you to do is to dump that other guy. I also have a very fragile ego because of my traumas, and I don't want to be vulnerable and ask because that's deplorable. So I will use a tactic of abandonment to force your hand. And hopefully you decide to dump the other guy and be with me. And or I even know from previous experience that when you suddenly abandon someone, it causes a pursuing behavior from the person that they wouldn't have done otherwise, just because certain people have that compulsion, and maybe a lot of people do. So I'm going to use this as a manipulation to hook you. That's the uncharitable point of view. Which one do you think which one is it? Or is it another option? What do you think?
So I'm done. And I'm really sorry.
I'm really sorry too. This is like really unfortunate.
But I hope you know everything I said to you, I meant. And I know you want that moment.
What do you say it there? And I'll rewind that. But then she just stands up and walks out, which makes me think that she wasn't that into him either, which I don't understand. Or she finally came around, or I don't understand. I think one of the only explanations is that either one of them wasn't really invested in the other person, or both of them are so avoiding other feelings that they avoid and run, which is another option. There's nothing wrong. I'm glad, to be clear, I'm glad that AD is leaving, because I was pretty sure she was going to be like, no. So given everything we've seen, I'm really happy that AD is doing this. I don't know if she's going to be with Clay. That's a whole other matter. I'm just glad she's not with Matthew. Although, if she's not going to be with Matthew, then we don't get to see him after this, which means we don't get more data, which I'll take. I don't want AD to have to go through that risk. Maybe Matthew's a wonderful person, but there's a lot of risks there. Anyway. But then he said something there. Let's ruin.
But I hope you know everything I said to you, I meant. And I know you want that moment.
And I know you want that moment. I know you want that moment. What moment? Moment of love? Moment of proposal? Anyway, again, he's talking from her perspective. He's saying her thoughts, which on the charitable side could just be his style of communicating, which is a bit strange, or it's a manipulative tactic.
I care about you, and I want you to be happy. And
You sound devastated. Is it because Amber's gone?
Leave! AD, you were close to the door. Why? Just go. Although it would mean we'd see more of Matthew. Just like, what is going on here? But if she stays, then from the uncharitable perspective, his manipulation worked fantastically, which is hard to watch. I have had that happen in my office, not this, but By the time couples with abusive partners end up in my office, it's years later. So, clinically, I'm accustomed to it. I'm comfortable with it. I've treated a lot of perpetrators of intimate partner violence and control and emotional manipulation. But I guess it's hard to watch the beginning because there's a very easy door to walk out. 5 years down the line, 10 years, you have kids together, you've been gaslit. It's a much different situation. It's like watching someone get on the Titanic, right? Like, just don't turn around. Yeah. But I don't know. Maybe I'm reading it wrong. I kind of hope I am.
Yeah, I feel like I broke somebody's heart on national TV.
You've...
And then, like I said before, there's nothing strange or pathological about someone acknowledging that they're on a reality TV show. They're supposed to act like they're not aware of the cameras, but of course they all are. Like, I think to that scene in season 5, was it? Where 2 of the women were practicing how they were going to run out into the hallway and meet their partner in person for the first time. They were like practicing, like, how would you run and how would you kiss? Like, yeah, I don't know, but they could have been doing that for legit reasons, fine reasons, because they know it's all going to be filmed and millions of people are going to watch and it'll be saved forever, for all time. Like, their future kids will watch that scene, their future friends, their future coworkers, everyone will see that scene, and you don't want to make a fool out of yourself. And so, of course, they're all thinking about it. But it's strange for someone to say it, at the very least. And there's a possibility of something wonky is going on with him. So if we talk about the manipulative side and the coercive side, the control side, the domineering side, angle, that conceptualization, then he's saying this because he's using it as a triangulation to manipulate her, trying to say, like, look, America's going to love me because I'm the underdog. Is that what he's doing? And so therefore, you don't have a choice. Everyone's going to hate you if you leave me. So, I mean, given everything we've seen, I wouldn't put it past him. Well, what did you say?
Yeah, I feel like I broke somebody's heart on national TV.
I broke someone's heart on national TV. You broke someone's heart on national TV. Who? Amber or AD? I don't understand who he's talking about or what he's talking about. You broke someone's heart? Okay, well, you broke someone's heart because you lied to 2 women? I'm trying to think, like, how he could possibly see this in a way that makes him look good. He knows Amber left. He knows that they know about each other because he asked AD. She left because of me, right? So he knows that. He doesn't know the extent. And he is hurt that Amber left because if we look at it from a human standpoint, there's a possibility he genuinely wanted to be with Amber, and he's like, oh, bummer. He's not framing it like he screwed up. There's been no language of him saying, I screwed up. He just would be interpreting it as Amber just ditched him for no reason. And then he's talking to AD, and he's using all this language around, like, I've got America wrapped around my finger. And then he says, I can't conform to your plan, so I'm leaving because you're with someone else. And then he's still crying, and she says, why are you crying? Are you crying about Amber? So I think that's her saying, I don't want to leave, so I'm going to ask, because if you're crying about Amber, then I'm leaving. But if you're crying about something else, then maybe I'll stay. And then he says, yeah, I feel like I broke someone's heart on national TV, which is Amber? Who are you talking about? Use subjects.
TV.
It's just, yeah.
And then I did the same thing to you yesterday.
So he's talking about Amber. He's talking about, I just broke someone's heart on TV, and I did the same thing to you yesterday. So I broke Amber's heart. How did he break Amber's heart? Aside from lying to her. Because it is lying. I mean, it's straight up. To say both of those things, you are definitely lying by omission. To say to two people all of those things that he said, you're deceiving, whether it was on purpose or not. So Amber left. I don't understand. And then I don't know. I did the same thing to you. I broke your heart yesterday. Okay, so he's saying, maybe this whole, like, America likes an underdog. I think the world likes an underdog, really, but okay. And he's saying that he is, maybe he's like regretting everything. He's like, oh crap, now I'm the bad guy. But America likes an underdog, right? Was that why he's saying that?
Yeah.
America's gonna be watching.
Okay, Matthew. Well, I'm gonna head out.
Okay.
Okay, Matthew. And here, America's gonna, it's like he's on a loop. Like there's like a broken record. America's gonna be watching. America loves an underdog. America kind of likes hot dogs. America is watching. America likes an underdog. I have America wrapped around my finger. You know, it's like disconnected from what's happening. And, you know, it from a charitable point of view, and I've been saying this from the beginning, you know, he could be genuine and there could be nothing nefarious about him, and he just has a particular way of processing what's happening, and, you know, this is a high emotional situation, and he is perseverating on an idea because he doesn't know what else to do. It's definitely possible. They certainly didn't edit it that way, but it is possible.
I'm done. I'm gonna go get Amber.
And then he says, I'm gonna go get Amber. Now they edited that to make it look like he said it just then, but they switched cameras to a different scene and we didn't see him actually say the words, so maybe he said that weeks later. I don't know. But according to the edit, he's saying that he is leaving because he wants to be with Amber. Okay. Huh. All right. So wait. They knew this. The production company knew this. They had that footage. And they chose not to show us Amber and Matthew. But they did choose to show a lot of Matthew and AD. So why would that be? Because if this is like a Zach Bliss situation, you know, Zach was with Irina and then there's a breakup, then Zach's like, I'm going to go get Irina. Well, we saw a lot of I'm going to go get Bliss. We saw a lot of Bliss in the beginning of the season, so you would think that they would have Amber. So I wonder what that reasoning is. It would seem weird, given how juicy the storyline is, it would seem very strange that you wouldn't have Amber featured and those dates featured. And so my conspiracy, or I don't know what you want to say, my suspicion, I suppose, is that something happened that made the production team concerned enough to say, we can't include very much of Amber. We need to have a little bit of it, but we shouldn't include all of it because it might be bad for everybody. I don't know. Or it was just cut for time. All right, well, that does it for that episode. Everyone out there, please take care of yourself because you deserve it. You really, really do.